The final season of Outlander is not just another chapter in the Fraser saga. It's the end of an era, and no matter how much we prepare ourselves, we know it's going to hit us like a freight train. For nearly 10 years, we've watched Jaime and Claire's love story unfold, and let's be honest, it's been more than just a show. Outlander became a part of our lives. We saw the highs, the lows, the triumphs, and the tragedies. And now, the journey is nearing its bittersweet conclusion. The announcement that Season 8 would be the last was hard to process. Even when it was first confirmed, a small part of me didn't fully believe it. I kept telling myself that maybe, just maybe, the show would find a way to extend its life. But then, something changed. When the official release date for Season 8 came out, it hit me. This is it. There's no going back. We are about to say goodbye to the characters we've come to know, love, and, in some cases, even mourn. The final season will bring closure to the epic love story between Jaime and Claire, but also to the rich tapestry of characters that we've followed for nearly a decade. And that thought alone is enough to make your heart ache. That as we approach the end, every detail we learn only deepens the emotional impact, from the cast's emotional farewell posts on social media to the cryptic teasers hinting at what's to come. Everything is pointing toward a heartbreaking conclusion. The cast members themselves seem to be feeling the weight of the ending. Sam Heughan, who's been with us as Jaime Fraser since the beginning, shared how much it's meant to be a part of Outlander and how difficult it was to say goodbye. And let's not forget Catriona Balfe, who has portrayed Claire with such grace and strength. They've both spent years with these characters, and saying goodbye to them must feel like closing a chapter of their own lives. And as a fan, that feeling is so real for us too. For those of us who've been with Outlander from the start, we've witnessed the growth of these characters, the development of their relationships, and the emotional roller coaster that has been their lives. And now, we're gearing up to experience one last ride with them. But as much as we dread the end, there's also a sense of anticipation, because, let's face it, we can't let go just yet. There's something so magnetic about this story that it's impossible to stop caring. We know it's going to hurt, but we're not backing down. The pull of the Frasers' journey is stronger than ever. The emotional intensity of this final season is not just about saying goodbye, it's about closure, resolution, and tying up the loose ends of a story that's been unfolding for years. With only 10 episodes left, every moment is going to count. There's no room for filler or filler plots. This is going to be as tight and focused as it gets. Everything, every plotline, every twist will revolve around the characters we care about the most, Jaime and Claire. There's no room for distractions. And that makes the stakes feel even higher, as we move forward. It's impossible to ignore the elephant in the room. Jaime's death. The teaser for the final season was enough to send chills down your spine. Jaime himself delivers a chilling line about his fate, stating, "War is coming to the backcountry and James Fraser dies in it." That's it. The writing is on the wall. Whether this is a moment of misdirection or a foreshadowing of what's to come, it's clear that we are heading into one of the most emotional seasons of Outlander yet. Could this really be the end of Jaime? Are we about to witness the death of one of TV's most beloved characters? The uncertainty is unbearable, and that's exactly why we can't look away. But beyond Jaime's fate, there's so much more waiting for us in Season 8. The show's creators have teased that we're in for a wild ride, filled with both passion and peril. Sophie Skelton, who plays Brianna, described the final season as nostalgic, while Richard Rankin, who portrays Roger, described it as sexy and dangerous. Sam Heughan himself added that it would be heartbreaking and eternal. These words don't just give us a glimpse of the emotional roller coaster ahead, they set the stage for a conclusion that will haunt us long after the final credits roll. As the final season begins to take shape, we can't help but feel the weight of what's to come. The storylines will come to a head, and everything will lead to one monumental conclusion. Outlander has always been about love, loss, and the power of time. And now, in these final episodes, all those themes will come crashing together. It's going to be a journey that will leave us breathless. And maybe, just maybe, it will be the most beautiful farewell we could ask for. As we brace ourselves for Outlander's farewell, the reality of the show ending is starting to sink in. We've been with Jaime and Claire through thick and thin, navigating through decades of heartache, history, and passion. But now, it's time to face the fact that we are on the brink of the end. And let's be honest, there's no easy way to prepare for this. The final season is about to hit us with all the emotions we've come to expect from Outlander. But now, with the added weight of knowing that this is the end of the road. The release date for Season 8 has officially been confirmed, and the countdown has begun. It's almost too much to process, right? A decade of stories and characters that have woven themselves into the fabric of our lives. Suddenly, it's all coming to an end. How do we even begin to say goodbye to something so monumental? What makes this even more difficult is the fact that the show has never shied away from making us feel the weight of each moment. It's been a long journey filled with so many highs and lows. But we always knew that no matter what happened, Jaime and Claire's love would be the anchor that kept us going. But now, with only 10 episodes left, it's clear that nothing is off the table. This isn't just a final season. It's a season that will leave us questioning everything we thought we knew about the Frasers, and, in turn, about love itself. Let's talk about what we're really going to lose in this final season. Jaime and Claire are undoubtedly at the heart of Outlander, and their love story has always been the driving force of the show. But the truth is, this final season is going to test us in ways we can't even predict. Not only are we preparing ourselves for the potential loss of Jaime, but we're also stepping into a season filled with impossible choices, unanswered questions, and unresolved emotions. For instance, the entire mystery of Faith, Claire and Jaime's first child, will take center stage in this final season. Faith's story has always been shrouded in tragedy. From the moment we learned that she was stillborn, it became one of the most haunting parts of Claire's journey. But now, after everything that's happened in Season 7, the mystery surrounding Faith's fate will be revisited in a way we never expected. Claire will search for answers, and we will finally learn the truth about what happened to Faith and what it means for the future of the Frasers. This isn't just a plotline we're talking about. It's a fundamental part of Claire's emotional journey. Faith was a loss that changed her. It's something that has haunted her since Season 2. And now, in the final season, we're about to see how this mystery plays out. The stakes have never been higher for Claire. And if there's one thing we know about Outlander, it's that no question is ever truly answered without more heartbreak along the way. The first glimpse we got of this storyline came from the teaser for Season 8. The focus on Claire searching for the truth about Faith sent shivers down my spine. We'll get flashback scenes that show us the fate of Faith in a way we've never seen before. It's as if we're finally going to confront this loss head-on. And with that, we'll see Claire's struggle to reconcile with her past and her future. But what does this mean for the Frasers? Will this mystery bring Claire the peace she's been searching for, or will it only complicate things even further? Beyond Faith's storyline, we have to talk about the overwhelming emotional depth that is sure to come with the other characters. Brianna and Roger's story is one that will continue to play a big role in the final season. Their relationship has gone through its own trials, and as we saw in Season 7, things are far from perfect for them. As Sophie Skelton, who plays Brianna, mentioned, the final season will be filled with nostalgia and perhaps that will extend to her relationship with Roger. Could there be more children on the way for them? And will we see them finally find peace in their own lives after all the chaos they've faced? The cast and crew have promised that the final season will be filled with unexpected twists. And I have no doubt that the Frasers' journey will be one that keeps us on the edge of our seats. There's no way to predict what will happen, but we can be sure that each episode will bring us closer to the inevitable conclusion. There will be moments of joy, but they'll be overshadowed by the sense of impending loss. And, as we've seen from the past seasons, it's those moments that will leave us crying in our seats. What makes this final season even more intense is the way it's shaping up to be a tight, focused story. With only 10 episodes to wrap up such an epic saga, there's no room for filler. This is going to be a lean, mean, emotional machine. Every scene will matter, every character arc will tie back to Jaime and Claire in some way, and every moment will make us feel something deep inside. The final season is about wrapping up years of storylines, so you can expect every twist, every heartbreak, and every victory to be amplified. Even though this is the final season, it's clear that the creators haven't lost their ability to surprise us. We'll see familiar faces, but we'll also meet new characters who will inevitably play their part in the Frasers' last journey. Kieran Boo, for instance, will step in as Captain Charles Cunningham, a retired British soldier, while Carla Woodcock will portray Amaranthus Grey. These new additions promise to bring fresh dynamics into the final season and add to the complexity of the plot. But the big question is, how will these new characters impact the Frasers' final battle, both physically and emotionally? This season is setting us up for an unforgettable ride. The final season countdown is on, and while we may not be ready to say goodbye, we know that Outlander will make sure we never forget the journey. Each episode will be packed with emotional weight, unforgettable moments, and the kind of love story that will go down in TV history. As we inch closer to the end, All we can do is hold our breath, hang on tight, and get ready for the heart-wrenching farewell we never thought we'd have to face. As we enter the final season of Outlander, there's no denying that the heart of the show beats in the relationship between Jaime and Claire. Their love has been the foundation of the series, enduring trials that most couples would never survive. But now, with the end so near, their bond will be tested like never before. The final season is not just about the fate of these two characters, it's about the legacy they leave behind, the impact they've had on each other, and on everyone who has been part of their journey. Jaime and Claire's story has always been one of sacrifice, resilience, and unconditional love. Their journey began with a chance encounter in time, and from that moment, their destinies were forever intertwined. But as their lives have unfolded, we've seen that their relationship isn't perfect. It's been marked by loss, betrayal, and the harsh realities of history, yet, through it all, they've managed to come back to each other, stronger and more united. But now, in these final episodes, things are different. The stakes have never been higher, and the emotional weight of everything they've been through is about to catch up with them. The road ahead will be filled with danger, uncertainty, and heartbreak. And while we know Jaime and Claire will face these challenges together, the question remains, can their love survive the ultimate test? From the start, their love has always been portrayed as one that transcends time, a connection that's almost otherworldly in its depth. And yet, this season will ask the most difficult question of all. What happens when time runs out? What happens when the inevitability of death, war, and history catches up with them? The recent teaser for Season 8 gave us a glimpse into that reality, with Jaime ominously reading the prophecy of his own death. The line, "James Fraser dies in it," echoes in our minds, leaving us with a chilling sense of finality. The very idea that Jaime could die is something none of us are prepared for. But as we've learned from Outlander, nothing is ever truly safe. The impact of Jaime's potential death will send shockwaves through the final season. Not just for Claire, but for every character we've grown to love. If Jaime dies, how will Claire cope? Can their love really survive death itself? Or will this be the one challenge even their bond can't withstand? These are the questions that will haunt us, the audience, as we watch their final moments together unfold. We'll be holding our breath as we witness the last chapter of their love story, wondering how it will all come to an end. But no matter what happens, we can be certain that the show will honor their love in a way that will stay with us long after the final credits roll. This series has always excelled at showcasing the emotional depth of Jaime and Claire's connection. And with the ending in sight, that depth will only intensify. The way they look at each other, the quiet moments of understanding, the fierce protectiveness they have for each other, these are the moments that will resonate the most. Even if the plot is filled with tragedy and loss, we know that the heart of the show will remain intact. It's not just the loss of Jaime. We'll be grappling with the loss of everything he represents. Jaime Fraser is more than just a man. He's a symbol of strength, love, and the enduring power of family. He's been the rock that Claire has leaned on for so long. And as we move toward the final episodes, we'll be forced to face the idea that this rock may not always be there. The impact of Jaime's death would be felt by everyone he's touched, but it would hit Claire the hardest. We've seen the pain she's endured, but nothing could prepare her for the pain of losing him. The emotional devastation of that loss will be one of the most powerful moments in the final season. But while the shadow of death looms over the Frasers, there's also a sense of hope that still remains. As Sam Heughan, who plays Jaime, said in a recent interview, the final season is about bringing everything full circle. It's about closure, resolution, and tying up the loose ends of a journey that began so long ago. Despite all the tragedy and the uncertainty, there's a sense of peace that we'll find in the end. Whatever happens, Jaime and Claire's love will endure. The final season will also focus on the idea of legacy. As much as we fear the end, we know that the Frasers' story will live on, not just in the hearts of the characters, but in ours as well. The love Jaime and Claire share has impacted everyone they've come into contact with, from their children to the countless allies they've made along the way. Their story is bigger than just the myths, about how love can shape the course of history, even in the most dire of circumstances. And as the show winds down, we'll be reminded of just how far they've come and how far their love will continue to echo. Long after the final season is over, in the end, Jaime and Claire's journey will be one of the most enduring love stories in TV history. No matter what happens in these final episodes, we will always carry a piece of their story with us. It's a love that has survived wars, time travel, and so much more. And while we may have to say goodbye to them in the physical world, their legacy will continue to live on in the hearts of fans everywhere. The Frasers have taught us that love is the greatest force in the universe, and no matter where they go, no matter what happens to them, that love will never truly end. As much as Outlander is about Jaime and Claire, it's also about the rich tapestry of supporting characters who have shaped their journey. These characters are more than just secondary players. They've been integral to the story, their lives, intertwining with the Frasers in ways that have brought depth and complexity to the entire series. And as we prepare for the final season, we can't help but reflect on how each one of them has contributed to the saga, knowing full well that some of them will be facing their own ends. Season 8 is set to be a final act not only for Jaime and Claire but for many of the beloved characters we've come to know and care about over the years. The Frasers family has grown, evolved, and been tested. And now, with the end in sight, we have to wonder which of these characters will come to a close, and how will their stories wrap up in the final chapters. Let's start with Brianna and Roger. Their journey has been one of discovery and adaptation, transitioning from the 20th century to the 18th. In Season 7, we saw them face incredible challenges, from dealing with the turmoil brought on by Rob, Cameron to adjusting to their new life on the Ridge. In Season 8, their story will continue to evolve, but with the finale just around the corner, we know that their future is also up for grabs. Sophie Skelton Brianna hinted at the possibility of a new addition to their family, and while that may bring joy, it's impossible not to feel the uncertainty that follows them. Their happiness has often been tempered by the shadow of the past, and as they deal with the complications of living in a time period so foreign to them, we can't help but wonder what final obstacles they'll face. One of the most intriguing aspects of Brianna and Roger's journey is the relationship they've had with the past, how it's shaped their future, and how their children might fit into the grand legacy of the Frasers. The idea of adding another child into their family ties into the nostalgia that permeates this final season, but it also raises questions about how much of the past they're willing to carry forward into the future. It seems like every generation in the Fraser family has had to face incredible challenges, and Brianna and Roger are no different. They've already been through so much, and their story is far from over. But how will it end? Then, there's Murtagh, a character who has been by Jaime's side since the beginning. The bond between these two men has always been a central pillar in the story, and it's been heart-wrenching to watch Murtagh's journey come to a close in earlier seasons. But Murtagh's death wasn't the end of his impact. His presence still lingers, and his legacy lives on in the hearts of the people who knew him. His death marked a major turning point in Outlander, and while his physical absence is felt, his spirit is very much present in the final season. It's not just the loss of a friend, but the end of an era in Jaime's life, one that will forever change the course of his journey. As we look at other supporting characters, the question of who will lose next looms large. There are characters whose fates have been hanging in the balance for some time. Will we finally say goodbye to characters like Fergus and Marsali, whose story has been more quietly woven into the fabric of the series? Or will characters like Lord John Grey, who has been an important part of the Frasers' lives, see their own resolution? These characters have been through so much, and as the end approaches, we know that no one is safe. It's not just about Jaime and Claire anymore, it's about everyone who has been a part of their world, and how their stories will come to an end. But it's not all about loss. With the final season, we're also seeing the introduction of new characters who will play pivotal roles in this final chapter. Kieran Bood joins the cast as Captain Charles Cunningham, a retired British soldier, and Frances Tummy as his mother, Elizabeth. Their introduction signals that the stakes will only get higher as we approach the end. What role will they play in the final battles, both on the battlefield and in the emotional journeys of the Frasers? The new faces bring with them the promise of fresh dynamics, but they also raise the question of how they will fit into the larger story. The Frasers' world has always been filled with complex relationships, and now, with the final season at hand, we have to wonder how these new characters will impact the family's last stand. Will they become allies, enemies, or something in between? And how will their presence affect the fate of the Frasers as they face the most difficult challenges of their lives? One storyline that has been slowly building in the background is the ongoing conflict with the British, led by characters like the ruthless Governor Tryon, as the Frasers' lives intertwine with the political upheaval of the time. The final season will likely bring those conflicts to a head, with only 10 episodes to wrap everything up. The tension between the Frasers and the British is bound to play a major role in the final season's climax. But beyond the physical battles, the emotional ones will be just as significant. For every character in Outlander, the stakes in the final season are personal. Whether it's the fear of losing a loved one, the pressure of carrying on a legacy, or the struggle to come to terms with the past, each character is going to be forced to confront their deepest fears. And as we move toward the conclusion of the story, it's impossible to ignore the fact that every one of them will have to face their own final moments. Whether they'll be ready for it or not is another question entirely. But one thing is certain, the emotional intensity will reach its peak, and no one will walk away unscathed. As we approach the end, we'll be reminded of how far each character has come, from the moments of joy to the deepest sorrows. Outlander has always been about the journey, and these final episodes, that journey will come to its emotional climax. It's going to be a wild ride, full of twists, turns, and heartbreaking goodbyes. But it's also going to remind us of why we fell in love with this world in the first place. The Frasers' legacy will live on, and while the show may be ending, the impact of these characters will be felt for years to come.